The greater ritual, Sish Kur Gu La, was a ritual that was done many times during the year. It's a very important one that will give you a good idea of how major rituals were done all across Mesopotamia. The greater ritual is a ritual honoring all of the gods. Offerings are made first to Enlil, and then to Ninlil, and then to each and every one of the gods following him in order of precedence. Because the gods were given offerings in order from greatest to least, we can see how each city saw the gods in relation to one another, which ones were the greatest, and which ones were subservient to those greater gods. And we can do this merely by seeing the order of offerings. We can also see what types of offerings were given to the gods. We can also see what types of offerings were given to the various gods. For example, we can see cattle, we can see the first fruits of the field, we can see clothing, we can see artwork. One thing we do not see is money, and there's a good reason for this. The Mesopotamians were a pre-coin society, so there was no money to give. However, precious materials were given. Essentially, anything of value could be given as an offering. Now, of course, these offerings would be given to the gods. They would support the temple, and in turn, they would support the priesthood. But there would be quite a lot of excess. This excess could be given to the poor, the sick, the injured, and the needy. And thus, this one ritual could act to really invigorate and help the community in ways that it desperately needed it. Given how long Mesopotamian civilization lasted, I'll let you take whatever moral lesson from that you wish. While yes, we are following the Nippurian calendar, and Enlil is the chief god of Nippur, that didn't mean that this ritual was only a Nippurian thing. In actuality, it was a ritual that you'd see all over Mesopotamia, and in later times it was a ritual dedicated to Marduk, that's during Babylonian times, of course. In Assyria, we would see offerings made to Assur and to his spouse, the Assyrian Asherah. So there were variations on this, and they would be worshipped in different orders because you would go from what your city saw as the head of the pantheon on downwards, and that might be a little different from one city to the next. You might give the offering after Enlil to your city's chief god, because in the eyes of your city, that is the next highest god in the priority. In a modern context, you might give the offering to the deity that you personally are devoted to. This offering actually took place over 2 or 3 days and would be observed in every city across Mesopotamia, although it would be observed probably a little differently from city to city and from time period to time period. There is also a greater offering in every single month of the year. So in some you might have it earlier in the month, and others you might have it later in the month. For the modern Inanna-only practitioners, you would still want to give offering to these other deities, as Inanna was never the chief deity of Mesopotamia. If possible, you're going to want to get together with other worshippers and do something that honors all of the gods. Use whatever talent you have to create something as an offering. This can be something that you've made. It can be a food offering that you've made yourself. If you don't have such a talent or are unable to express it, support others who create in your community. If you can't get together with somebody in person, get together with them virtually. Get together with them online. Anyway, I hope that this is useful to all of you. This is a major ritual that is performed all throughout the year, so it's a good one to really get to know.